welcome everybody to another episode of History's Benchwarmers, reviewed by me, Adam.
And Rich.
And we have an interesting podcast for you today.
There is this big crisis on this coronavirus disease. The coronavirus itself is a virus that is a respiratory illness that affects your lungs and affects your breathing, gives you fevers, gives you chills. It could be fatal depending on if you have previous conditions. With that being said, those people who are a little bit younger, a little bit more healthy, generally probably would not get affected, but could still carry the disease or the infection and still pass it on to someone else. The reason they call it the coronavirus is because when you look through a microscope at this, the virus itself, the cells look like a crown. And with that being said, corona in Latin means crown.
Oh, wow.
Which
I
is,
didn't know that.
yeah, which is why this concept of coronavirus, that's why it's called this. So this actually is not the first case of coronavirus.
It's COVID-19, isn't it?
COVID-19 is the actual disease. But this virus itself is not new. There's other strands of coronavirus out there, and if you do some research, you'll find out that it's not the first case. There are some other ones that lead to major organ failure, but those are not as easily spread out to humans. I think it's MERS that's spread from camels, and then there's SARS that's spread from a different animal, I don't know. But generally these are spread from animals.
Damn animals.
So, looking at the coronavirus itself, it started, or people believe, scientists believe, scholars believe, that it started in a live animal market in Wuhan, China. Started from a bat, and this bat was carrying the illness. And it's not the first time that bats have caused illnesses. I was doing some research on Ebola, and I don't know if you knew that Ebola actually came from a bat as well in a live animal market.
Oh, my brother read a book in biology class. It was like a mandatory read for him. I think it talked about Ebola. Or it talked about one of those diseases that we had. And it's a good book, but it's terrifying, man, of what that thing can really do, hopping from host to host in any way that it could possibly do it. Absolutely. I mean, these germs that we're dealing with, it keeps evolving as the world evolves. That's why medicine never stops, because the second it stops is the second we're going to be a step behind all of these other diseases. I mean, look how long...
And we're already behind.
We're already behind, but we're trying to make vaccines. Vaccines will come in the next 6-8 months.
Yeah.
But until then, we just have to figure out what we're doing. Some people are recovering. I believe that.
Yeah. No, there's
a lot of people.
There's a lot of recoveries. There's been a lot of fatalities as well.
But we have to understand that it's just these things are going to come back. It's not flu season yet. We're just getting into warmer weather with the summer coming around. And yes, some people are going to get last second, sniffles and coughing and sneezing and being sick with sore throats and stuff like that, because that's what happens. The weather's changing. Therefore, our body's trying to get used to it. Yeah. So, but we have to really worry about when the flu season hits, because we already have a number of people die from flu every year.
Oh, absolutely.
No one really talks about it because it's like, well, it's mostly handled. You take a flu shot, you'll be fine. But now this is something that doesn't have a vaccine. This is something that we don't really know about, and people it can come and leave as quick as ever. I mean, it could come and devastate an entire, maybe a 10th or a 12th of a population. And it'll just leave, and nobody would really say anything. I mean, think about it. We have how many deaths now have happened?
According to World Meters, not sure how reliable it is. It says there is 182,457 cases of coronavirus and 7,158 deaths around the world.
So the little nuances about how the world works, and who knows what's going to be the thing that comes out of this, right? I mean, we had a pandemic about 100 years ago. Now we have to also understand. The pandemic flu, 1918, happened so quickly because we had a war. The Spanish flu, right? It happened so quickly because we had a war. People fighting on both sides or in trenches, literally elbow to elbow with each other. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's kind of how it was in downtown Chicago on Saturday, apparently. I don't know if you saw that.
Apparently, there was
nuts.
A massive bar crawl everywhere.
And even in the north side, bro, past downtown and those nicer areas. You know what I mean? I don't think Evanston, but Wilmette and places like that up there.
Yeah.
They had a lot of bars and a lot of specials going on for people to go out and drink.
Yeah, because they probably foresaw the restaurants would be closed.
But at what risk are you doing that at? You're taking the opportunity to make money yes, for a small business, you have to.
Yeah.
But for the idea of protecting against a pandemic, I mean, there's weighing of two odds. If you're looking at it from a social point, looking at it from an economic point, at some point you have to make a decision.